Michael William Denny of ThunderShamanism.com, and today we're going to continue in the next installment of Secrets of Shamanism, the Path to Spiritual Mastery. So, today we're going to talk about probably the most important aspect of mastering shamanism, which is, as we've talked about before, a shaman is somebody who has control over the projection of reality. This reality that we live in is a holographic projection. It's an illusion, but it's still reality. It's a video game that we live in, and the shaman has the power to control that projection. So if you're not familiar with my work, you can go ahead and, if you're looking at this on the YouTube, you can click on the links below, go to ThunderShamanism.com. You can also click on the extremely powerful energy practice called Celestial Qigong, which will give you the power. You have to have power to be able to create the projection. It takes energy to transform energy. Celestial Qigong will give you that power. Trust me, far beyond your wildest dreams. And then we're going to be talking about apprenticeship. How you can work with me one-on-one, because without actually working directly with a master, it's going to take a very long time, if not be virtually impossible, to learn how to master this, which is what I'm teaching. But for now, back to the teaching, which is the three selves. So we talked in the previous video about how the universe was created from the shamanic perspective, which is reflected in multiple mythologies around the world, which is this: from the emptiness of an indivisible unit, which scientists call, just before the Big Bang. According to scientists, all of the universe, the entire universe, was packed into one indivisible unit, which I don't know if it was like a centimeter across or some really, really small area. The entire universe in one little tiny area. That is the indivisible unit, the emptiness, the formless and void, whatever it is, the Gununga gap, the yawning chasm from which everything erupted, exploded into existence. From that, boom, it exploded into existence, and then it became the three ones, which is the three dimensions. The three deities, the trinity that you find in multiple traditions. In Hinduism, it's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. In Norse mythology, it's Odin, Vili, and Ve. In Christianity, it's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. In the Taoist, it's the three ones. In Hawaiian shamanism, it's the three selves. It comes down to this three, and this is what we're going to talk about. From that three comes the five elements: wood, metal, fire, water, and earth, or ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And from those five elements, the five elements create all of the infinity of manifested existence. So today we're going to focus on the three ones, the three selves, the three dimensions. Now, within us, the human being is a microcosm of the universe. More specifically, there's one thing that the Abrahamic traditions got right, which is that human beings are the reflection of the divine. Now, doesn't mean that we look like, some bearded guy sitting up on a throne, which, by the way, isn't Jehovah, that's Odin. It's not that we are that. It's that we not only are, everything is, a projection of the one source, but only humans have the power to master that projection. So that's why we are made in the image of God, because we have the three ones within us, and from those three ones we have the power to create, control, change, and alter everything. This holographic projection we call reality. And a master shaman is somebody who has mastered that. Now, you can't master that until a few things happen. The first thing that has to happen is you have to change your understanding of what reality is, which we've talked a little bit about, and that's a longer subject I won't go into, but basically that this is a holographic projection. It's an illusion, like science is telling us. Reality is it's a projected illusion. Second thing you need to do as a shaman is you need to master life force energy. You need to be able to summon it to you. You need to be able to expand it. You need to be able to send it out. And that is something I teach in a DVD series I call Celestial Qigong. I strongly recommend it. You want to master shamanism, you got to first master energy. Click on that and get that. And that will get you started. The third thing that you need to do is you need to understand the three selves. Now, in understanding and working with the three selves, we have to work on cleaning out the lower self. So let's talk about what the three selves are. The three selves are, first, what we call the lower self. The lower self is, you can't see it here, but I'm touching my navel center. This is why people contemplate their navel when they meditate, because they're actually cleaning out and organizing their lower self. The lower self is actually the projector. So you have to get that cleaned out. You have to wipe off the lens and be able to know how to work it so that you can project reality, and it comes from the lower self. Within the lower self, we have the unconscious and subconscious mind. Incredibly powerful. We'll get into that subject later. So that's the lower self. The lower self, then we have the higher self. Now, there's a reason I'm going out of order here. I'm going from lower to higher, and then I'm going to go to middle. I'll explain all that too, but that's for another video. So we have the lower self, and we have the higher self, which we call the third eye, which we call the higher self, which you can call all kinds of other things, but it connects us to the celestial masters. It connects us to our highest potential. The angels, I don't care what words you use, but this is the part of us that gets messages directly from that, which is then sent to the lower self to create reality. Again, that's another subject. Then we have the middle self. The middle self is here located in the heart center. This is where the soul resides. The soul, which is like the planet of the sun. In fact, soul and sun mean the same thing. It comes from the same root word, soul in Old English. And the soul is where we experience this video game of reality. So what has happened with the majority of people in the modern world is that their soul has been disconnected from the other two selves. And so the soul is watching all this chaos go on and can't do anything to fix it. How many times have you heard people say, I just can't seem to get my life together. I know what I'm supposed to do. They don't have the power to do it. It's because they're not connected to the other three selves, and or the lower self is not cleaned out. It's full of chaos, and the lower self is dominating and controlling the other two selves, which causes all kinds of chaos. Again, the majority of people that I've seen in the world, that's what's going on. What I have done is I have learned some measure of control over the three selves. I've learned how to clean out the lower self, how to organize the lower self, the subconscious and the unconscious mind, and I've learned how to control my projection. Now, something very interesting has been happening that apparently has been going on for a while, but because I've been doing this for so long, maybe I'm just kind of asleep to it and I need to wake up. But my girlfriend keeps saying to me, it's amazing to me that you say something. You say, here's what I want. You'll be thinking out loud and you'll say, here's what I want in my life, A, B, C, D. And then in a week or two you have it and it's manifested. And I go, well, I guess you're right. I wasn't even paying attention to it. And she's like, how do you do that? I don't know how to do that. I can say whatever I want. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But you say you want something, and the next thing you know, it's happening for you. This is because a shaman spends his or her whole time learning how to perfect this projection. And our words actually create projection. That's a whole other subject. So this is why the three selves are so important to shamanism. This is how people are healed. I've said this before, I'll say it again. The days of fairy dust are over. If somebody wants to be healed of a physical disease, in times past you would go to whomever it was and he would sprinkle fairy dust on you, or he would chant something, or he would put his hands on you and he would heal you. Now, I'm not saying that's not possible. It is possible. But I know that the universe has said that's not how we're going to do things anymore. The way we're going to do things is we're going to teach people how to do it themselves. That's what I do. I'm now working with cancer patients who are being healed of, supposedly terminal cancer. And all I'm doing is I'm teaching them how to do all this stuff we're talking about. And they're now able to change their projection of their reality, which means that they're healed. And once you do that, you're in alignment with your three selves, the body naturally heals. It's just, it just means we're out of alignment. That's all. So we could go on and on and on, and we shall in other videos, but for now, I'll cut it short for here. So that's an introduction into the three ones and why that's so important to Master Shamanism. Just again to let you know, I have gotten to the point in my practice where I am ready to teach all of my knowledge to at least 2 people. So I'm taking 5 apprentices. Now, apprentice is somebody who works with me for a minimum of 1 hour every week. And this can go on for as long as it takes. The teacher-student relationship, the master-student relationship, isn't a, it goes on for a long time. So if you're looking to learn something in a weekend, I can teach you a lot in a weekend, but you're not going to be able, I'm not going to give you a degree or anything like that. This is a lifetime practice. Among those people that want to work with me, I'm going to lock it down when I got 5 people that I know are committed, that have the ability, that have the patience, that have the determination, that have the discipline, that have the desire and have the calling to learn from a master shaman. I've learned from multiple traditions, and I've taken the aspects of these multiple traditions that are most important. I've gotten rid of all of the religious garbage. I've gotten rid of all the dogma. I've cut through all of that, and I've found out how these multiple traditions can come together. And we're going to talk about what Kundalini is, what Chi is, what the astrology is. We're going to talk about all this different stuff and how all these things can come together to give you the keys to mastering reality, which is what a shaman does. So with that, go ahead and click on the links below, Celestial Qigong, and also click on the link for becoming an apprentice. And you can read about it, and you can just go ahead and subscribe. Boom, you're my apprentice. And then you can work with me for as long or as little as you want. And once I have those 5, I'm going to close it down. I'm going to teach at least 2 people all of my knowledge. So that's it for now, until we go into the next video, which will also be very interesting.